Hi, I'm Nicole H. I'm currently 18 weeks pregnant in my first surrogacy journey. In the last video I did, I talked about all the steps leading up to becoming a surrogate. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about all the medications that are involved after you get to do all the fun stuff. So, I was matched with my parents in November, and at that point I was told to start a birth control pill just to regulate my system the way they wanted it. And I also started a prenatal vitamin. They didn't tell me to do that. I did that on my own, but I figured it couldn't hurt anything. So I took the birth control through November and December and into January. And in January, I got to start an estrase, which is an estrogen pill, and a Lupron injection. And the Lupron injection, it comes in a little vial, and you get the world's tiniest needle to do it. So I kind of psyched myself up for that one, but once you do it the first time, you realize that you hardly even feel it. It just becomes a part of your daily routine. Um, I took that for about 2 weeks, and then we increased my estrogen pill, and then I got to start the progesterone. The progesterone is a little more rough than the Lupron, just because the progesterone is in an oil, so it's thicker, and so there's two different needles. There's a drawing needle and then the injection needle. This is the injection needle. It's quite a bit larger than the Lupron one, but it goes in your rear. So the problem with that one is you have to be really careful about where your placement is, and you need to remember to massage and massage and massage afterwards to get the medicine course through so you don't get knots and get sore. And applying heat really helped too. That's another reason why that private surrogacy page is so helpful, because you guys can talk about that stuff and get tips and pointers. And I loved it during the time of my medication. So if I was feeling anything weird or different, I could ask them if they felt the same. Um, Along with that, I was going to a clinic to check the thickness of my uterus. They measured on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, of course. And you would just go in for an ultrasound to see if your thickness was progressing the way it should, and then you would do blood tests to see if your estrogen and progesterone levels were good enough for a transfer. Since you're tricking your body into thinking it's pregnant already, because you're introducing an embryo to it. When my levels were finally good enough for us to schedule a transfer, um, I got to start taking Medrol. Medrol just suppresses your immune system. I was also taking doxycycline, which is, it's just an antibiotic. Now, we scheduled the transfer for February 13th, and the night before I had to take Metrogel suppository. It's just this little gel you put in here, and it just helps kill any bacteria if there are any, just to be safe. And then the next morning I went in, had another ultrasound just to check one more time my blood levels and the lining of my uterus, which was a 10 plus, so we were good to go. And then the mid-morning I had to take another suppository. It was progesterone, just to kick it up another notch. It was just this little tablet you put on here. And then I went in for my transfer. It was at 2 o'clock, and before it, we did acupuncture without the needles, which at this point you're used to needles anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it was a laser acupuncture, and we did it before and after the transfer, actually. And it just helps with relaxation and blood flow. And it was supposed to increase our chances by 5%, so I figured, why not? I was wanting to help them as much as I could. Told them I'd stay on my head if I had to. So during the transfer, my mom and Karen, the intended mother, stayed in there, and we got to watch everything on a screen. So when you see it actually happen, it's so surreal, and it was so emotional and so exciting all at the same time. And it's just a moment I will never forget. And I'm so glad my mom was in there and she took a couple pictures. After the transfer, just get lots of rest, and you continue to take your progesterone shots just to help sustain the pregnancy. That's what the progesterone is for. And there's a week wait before you can take any sort of pregnancy test. And that was probably the longest week of my life. And I decided to cheat. Actually, I was one of the cheaters that took an at-home pregnancy test. It was really faint, positive, so I was terrified for my blood test. So I went in for it, hoping for the best, and it turned out it was positive, and so we were all so excited. Now with the progesterone shots, you continue to take those for about 8 weeks, well, as long as your pregnancy is progressing like it's supposed to. And during that time, you go to a monitoring facility. It could be a fertility clinic that's real close to you or a hospital. And they just check to make sure through ultrasound that the baby is developing normally. After that 8 weeks, your fertility clinic, that's through your couple where you got your transfer, they will release you based on everything being normal. That's great because you don't feel like, you feel normal, you feel more normal at that point because you get to go to your own gynecologist, OBGYN. So after I was released, I got to stop the shots, but I had to take the progesterone suppository for a couple more weeks. And at that point, I hadn't had any side effects from any of the medications. So with the suppository, I started having a lot of side effects, and I did not feel very good the whole time I took them. Now, medication affects everybody differently, so I might have had a problem there where someone else had a problem somewhere else along their journey, but I was glad to be done with those. But you're willing to do anything, so things like that in the scheme of things are tiny compared to what you're getting ready to do for someone. So finally, at the beginning of April, I was done with all my medications and I was released to my own doctor, and now all the fun had started and I got to feel normal like my regular pregnancies. So if you do decide to become a surrogate, I hope this video helped you in some way see what you were in for if you decided to do it, just to give you a little insight. I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for listening.